Hi, it's Bloody Mary, and I am broadcasting from inside the old homestead of Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau here in New Orleans, a block from my haunted museum and voodoo shop. We are going to talk about psychic stuff today. I have Mystic Dylan from California by way of Florida, who should be checking in any moment if he's almost done with making a candle and doing a reading. And I will double check with him on live now. So we're waiting for him. I hope that he comes in soon. So, any of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Bloody Mary. I am a local psychic, celebrity ghost hunter. I'm Voodoo Queen in New Orleans Voodoo tradition, Mambo and Haitian Voodoo, as well as Yaya Nakisi in Congo, Apollo, and born and raised New Orleans Catholic. And I am a tour guide, I'm a spirit guide, I'm a psychic medium. And we were going to talk about psychics. I'm going to have psychic headliners that come from all over. Everyone comes from all over to New Orleans anyway. So I am going to try to get roving guests that come in to book readings. And that's what we're going to be doing with Dylan, if he can even get on this live. Mr. Mystic Dylan has a shop in California, but he's been a long-standing psychic tarot reader as well as a long-standing visitor to New Orleans. However, I don't know if he is a long-standing StreamYard person. So we're waiting for him to get on here now. I did just, he says he's coming on in. So he's trying. And I will somewhat listen to him and tell you more about me, more about him, more about me. So anyway, in a lot of ways, he will come to me as a student, but he is very eclectic, Mr. Mystic Dylan. He's also an author as well as a store owner and a psychic medium. And he will be coming in town the June 9th weekend. He will be doing June 9th and June 11th with us. June 10th, he's at the Oddities Fair, but he might be a guest in my seance that evening. I do a seance and paranormal experience every weekend, half seance so that we get in touch with your spirits, and half ghost hunt so you can get in touch with ours. I do that at the Haunted Museum. We also have private ghost hunts. We have late night, midnight ghost hunts. We have park walking tour, park ghost hunts. Then we have combinations that go all over town, including a cemetery. Did you know that I was the first one that did cemetery tours in the dark? In the night. Hello, Christopher Moon. I see a guest popping in. I'm looking for the other guest. Chris Moon is a electronic medium, ITC, and a spirit guide. He does a lot of ghost hunting, and he's particularly good at the electronic version. And I have some of his collection at my museum of early ghost hunting spirit boxes. So you can come see those, and if he ever comes back in town, maybe he can resurrect them and make them work. I think I have found my Mystic Dylan. There's a button somewhere that you need to push to join in. I see you looking around frantically. Yes, I know that feeling. I don't think I have to do anything, but I can try. I push the button. There you are. Can you hear me? Yes, yay. Hello. I can hear you. Speak. You've disappeared. There you are. Speak. Speak, Mr. Mystic Dylan. You're on. Talk. He doesn't know that he's on.
I can't hear you.
Ah.
Oh, wait. Oh, that cash is yours. Okay. I feel like you're a prostitute.
What happened? You got cash?
Okay.
Cash is mine. I'll take it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hi. But I can't hear you.
Well, I don't know why.
Yeah,
my mic is on. Your mic should be on. I see your face.
This is strange.
I hear someone else's voice. We can hear you.
There we go.
Hello.
Okay. Hello. Thank you.
Technical difficulties.
Hello,
Mr. Dylan. I've been talking you up. I've been lying left and right.
Oh, there we go. That's how you do.
Yeah, I've just been lying because that's so much fun. So my psychic, and yes, how are you? I'm fine. I've just been rushing all over town to get back here in time, and I beat you.
Yeah, you did, and I'm like here in the shop, but it's been crazy.
Are you doing better now that you've told people you're closing?
Yeah, well, I told people I'm moving. Everyone thinks I'm closing.
Right.
I'm moving. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, the new space will be like a quarter of the rent that I'm paying now.
Well, that makes a difference.
That makes a huge difference.
Stress level, especially.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, retail, brick and mortar, it's a hard egg to crack these days. And you started at a bad time at the end of COVID, but I know you said you got a deal and it was too hard to pass up.
Yeah, and then the deal turned south when they just jacked the rent up like triple.
To back where it was, I guess. Yeah. So yes, and Chris, who's over here too, another co-art of mine, he just opened a retail, and I was like, you sure you want to do that? I'm I'm the opposite of everyone. I just decided to actually pay attention to my online business. So it's like, okay, everybody else getting brick and mortar, I'm going back to that. Well, not back to that, but adding that so it's easier. But just having a hell of a time linking it up to all these social media sites. So
it's hard.
Just go to our websites. Go to our websites to find our store, right? So my website is BloodyMaryNewOrleans.com. There's a voodoo shop button. Your website is what, Mystic Dylan?
TheOldWorldEmporium.com. There's a shop button.
Yeah, so shop, but not only shop, call. And I do a lot of psychic readings by phone, as you do too, as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I did more by phone because I didn't always have the brick and mortar. And so many of my customers, clients, fans, or whatever are from out of town. I don't have a lot of local business. Mine is all visitors. Since this is such a tourist city, New Orleans is, constantly flowing. And where you are is probably more local, right?
Yeah, we get a lot of local, and we actually have a nice community. So we do like a full moon ritual every month that people come to, and we do a bunch, like we have a psychic fair at the first Saturday of every month. So we get a lot of locals because we're not really a tourist. I mean, LA is, but not like Santa Clarita is more rural.
Yeah, LA is very spread out.
Yeah.
So you have to really know where you're going if you're going for that. The French Quarter, even though it's bigger than people think, is still concentrated that you could get a lot of it very, very close to each other.
Absolutely.
And except now I have my own store, my own haunted museum. I've had my own tour company for pushing, 28 years or almost 29 years. Kind of always done cemetery tours and ghost things since I was a kid here because it was always something I loved. Didn't think I'd be doing it as a business. I thought it was part-time when I started, and still not. Still full-time.
It's your soul. Takes your soul.
Well, it is part of my heart and soul. Yeah. So I would not give it up. But basically, I divert, I change, I expand, I focus on different areas, I reinitiate, I add more things. It's continuing education. As far as right now, I am doing another book, a deep research book, and I have a special office extended a block from my museum at the old Marie Laveau homestead. Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau was born here, as far as we could tell, and died here June 15th, coming up very soon, 1881. Wow. So I'm trying to connect with the energies that are here with various psychics and experts in their field, which is whether they're mediums, whether they're psychics, whether they're researchers. I had an architect in. I mean, we do all kinds of different things.
Yeah, I saw some of your videos. They look fascinating.
Well, good, because I got really involved with TikTok, which I'm Bloody Mary Nola, by the way, Nola. And I got very used to that.
You're killing it on TikTok.
Well, I keep getting pulled back a little bit every time I do really good with community standards for something very, that I can not even tell what it is. Things that we talk about here all the time, like bodies and bones and recycling tombs, like some people freak out. But I'm getting there. Yes, I got over 100,000 on there, legitimate, fans and such. And but what I did get by that, I started doing that. I stopped on my YouTube and I started doing that, and started doing little short videos on TikTok right around COVID, right?
Yeah.
A little bit after that, a little bit after that. And I got used to their editing, and now I'm going back to this, and I suck. I have to go back to use the big editing software. It was a new learning curve again. So I don't think the shows I put out are quite where they're supposed to be yet. I'm getting new cameras and new sponsors, and hopefully we'll have that all set up very, very soon. And when you come, we'll do something inside the box with you. But we're going to do it here now because you're coming, and you're going to be one of my first one of my first, not the worst, damn it, one of the first psychic headliners, visitors that come in to do their readings at my shop, as well as we're going to do maybe some kind of co-op reading seance, some kind of ghost hunting thing here at Laveau's, and put that on that weekend. We'll film it that weekend. I don't know if it'll be on till the Monday or Tuesday. But anyone that's coming to New Orleans on that weekend, anyone going to the Oddities Fair in New Orleans, will also be able to come to the Haunted Museum at noon. We open, and on Friday and Sunday, Mystic Dylan will be there for readings, and maybe he'll be there for one of our after-hour seances.
I'll take some of your flyers.
Okay, yes, take some brochures. And did you? I noticed that you were starting also to do seance in your place, or was it?
We have a nice adjacent room that actually allows it's very ambient and perfect, so we started doing seances there, and then the new space that I'm crossing fingers that I'm waiting to hear from the realtor. It will have an upstairs, so the bottom will be the shop, the upstairs will be kind of like a ritual seance room.
Okay. I have a seance parlor.
Exactly. I know. It's beautiful.
Stealing it. No, we can't have the same wallpaper. I'll be very angry. No, we have the seance.
No, I do have flocked wallpaper similar to you.
All the wallpaper. Mine's red.
Inspire. Yeah, yours red. Yours is red.
So yeah, I have a seance parlor. I also have another little tea room. I saw you were going to do too. And obviously, everybody knows I do ghost hunts.
Yes.
I've been doing ghost hunts for 30 years, and the first one that did them, in graveyards at night, and learned with the spirits. And but what I wanted to touch on real briefly, since we were trying to make this a focused and sort of short little interview live here, is psychic abilities. So the way people do psychic readings is very individual.
Absolutely.
Now, some people, it's the only thing that you're hopefully secure on is when someone says they're doing tarot, that they should know how to read the cards. But that's not
absolutely
even true. That's not even true, though, because a lot of people don't learn the cards and use them, and in that way they're using them like oracle cards, right? There's a lot of oracles.
What are your thoughts? See, I come from a different school of thought. Like, I personally believe, I think because Oracle is made by different artists, I think that is open for interpretation. I have a hard time. I'm psychic. I think everyone has gifts and intuition, but I'm very, when it comes to tarot, I find that I'm very academic. So I do find it interesting when people are like, I don't know what the cards mean, so I'm just going to use them. And to me, it's I don't know that a tarot deck has energy. I think we give the tarot deck energy, and we use the whatever school of thought that is attached to tarot to enhance a reading. But sometimes, for someone who, and I'm sure you see this too, when you get readers that want to read at your shop, I can't tell you how many really don't know the cards, and they go off in I don't know, they go in a different world. And sometimes they're wrong.
Now that's also a California light language kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
The Lemurians come in. Well, no, I think that if you're going to say that you're a tarot reader, that you have to know the cards. I was just having this
I
discussion
agree.
with someone this weekend who said, well, don't worry about what the cards mean, just channel. I said, no, if you're just going to try to channel, use an oracle deck because they don't have a
Exactly.
specific meaning. But I said, do yourself a favor and learn the tarot, and you don't have to use it. You don't have to stress out about it. But if you're going to use it, people that go to you are going to want to know that you know what the hell you're talking about. You might look a little foolish.
It's
You
true.
know,
And
I don't like tarot. Tarot is not me. I don't use it or pretend to use it.
right.
You know, so
Right.
I am a medium. I'll talk directly, but my spirit guide, no matter what I do, will still, my spirit guides, excuse me, will chime in. You know, my
Yeah.
psychic abilities will come through.
Exactly.
You know, but
And I think in this day and age when people claim to be a tarot reader, there are enough women who have been at home Googling tarot that they'll know. So if you don't know the cards, they'll tell you. They'll be like,
right.
I know this card. You know? But I think, you know, for a lot of tools, right? The tool is just that. Oh no. It's a tool. So
Yeah.
it is essentially kind of like a diving board to your gifts.
Everybody uses different methods. I have multiple
Mhm.
methods that I use, but
Right.
yes, it depends. Now, let's bring this back. So some people say I do this, I do that, or some people just do anything because they saw or heard it once. And there is a supreme teaching method around it that they're missing. And that's a little misleading. And I try not to let people that I had work for me say that because, you know, none of them had really, some of them didn't have experience in things and then would just go off saying it and doing it their own way. And I get called on it. And then that kind of bothers your reputation.
Of course.
I don't know if you have the same problem.
No, I do too. You know,
I'm just getting professionals from other places to come more. And I had
Right.
some good locals, but they're all trying to, you know, get their own local business, which makes
Yeah.
sense. And they're still building and working and young at it. So people that have been doing it for a while have a bit of a following. And, you know, we'll see what happens with the psychic headliner thing.
Absolutely.
But taking that back to a different level, going back in time, which is what I'm trying to do here. We know that Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau had psychic abilities. We know that she was a spiritual leader, a spiritual healer, and a physical healer.
Yeah.
We don't know the very specifics on everything she did, but I doubt, and I've never heard the word tarot around her. So
No.
I don't think that was very popular. It was popular at the time, and still for some voodooists from other areas to do readings with playing cards, regular playing.
Yes. And
the
and
whole
I
deck,
believe
in fact.
Marie Laveau's 18th century, right?
No, 19.
Oh, 19th century. So I mean
1801 to 1881.
81, yeah. So the tarot was that's the first time it was mass produced. So the chances of her having, and it started mass production in Paris. So I mean,
So on that end, it might have
yeah.
been here, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it could have been here, but I think that she was like proficient in it? She probably did do playing cards though, you know.
It wasn't really mentioned about her doing
Yeah.
readings per se as much as
Right.
spiritual work, spiritual
Right.
healing, physical healing,
Yeah.
voodoo, herbal. Though, you know, what I touched upon in my previous book, in which I might expand more on this one, is, you know, people looking back with the eyes of presentism, trying to describe Marie Laveau, and a bunch of yahoos at the door here every night who don't know much about this stuff talking on tours. They'll still push the whole thing of, you know, like, oh, she just listened to information and then
because she was a hairdresser.
Yeah, but that's just the thing. And like that
Right.
is such the insignificant part about Marie Laveau. You know, yeah, she did hair when she was younger, before she was even a voodoo queen. So
Right.
the people that say, oh yeah, she was a hairdresser, she listened to this or that,
It discredits her.
It dismisses not only her, it dismisses that she had any psychic abilities.
Right.
It dismisses that she had any way beyond cheating, you know, getting around or spying,
Right.
that she didn't have that. And some say, well, cheat him if you can. And that is certainly not something that we go by these days in readings, most scrupulous readers. Well, I'll want to know less about a person. I don't want you to tell me your problem before you come in. I want to feel it naturally and see what the
Absolutely.
spirits have to say. But yeah, they'll just say, oh, she would just get the information from there, and so would tell her, and the neighbor and the maid at this house would tell her. But there's definitely no. Hello, Melissa. There's definitely no evidence.
Yes.
Either way.
A friend of mine recently did a tour in New Orleans, and I don't know who, but I guess the tour guide said that Marie Laveau was strictly hoodoo, didn't work with any spirits, and probably didn't know the difference between an Orisha or a Loa. And I was like, I don't know that that's true.
I don't think that that's true. But one thing is, the word Loa wasn't that common back then. Maybe the word Orisha was. Yoruba wasn't that common here in New Orleans in her day. There was not a lot of that tribe that came here, the Yoruba. So people are talking without really knowing.
Right.
They call them all the mysteries. The spirits, the mysteries, the saints. That was what verbal talk said at the time. They did not necessarily use the word Loa or voodoo and care if it was spelled with 2 O's or a O and a U, and all the dumb things that people argue about today about semantics and spelling, which was not standardized. Whether it was hoodoo or voodoo, of course, she absolutely knew about the spirits. She went to mass every day. She prayed to the saints. She had saint statues, spirit statues all over her house. Those were documented facts.
Right.
So not everything is documented. But her dealing with spirits is definitely part of it. And hoodoo in general didn't have to have spirits.
Right.
Voodoo did. And she did ritual and ceremony and dance. And that is voodoo, not hoodoo. Hoodoo is the one-on-one, healings, whatnot, gree-grees, potions, powders, dolls, this and that. That was not the religion per se. The dances were the voodoo. And she was right across the street from Congo Square, like literally across the street.
Right. Hold on. I'm here.
That is Dylan, who didn't turn off his damn phone. So Mr. Dylan's phone will be taken away from him when he comes here to do readings.
Someone was calling the store phone.
Someone else, while he's doing your reading, I will beat him with a voodoo noodle.
Yeah, a voodoo noodle. Yes. But I think that, from what I've learned, and obviously from you, I think there's no doubt that she had psychic abilities, and I'm sure her spirit still resides.
Absolutely. I've run into her spirit, talked to her. She's been a personal guide of mine for 30 years. I've known about her literally since kindergarten on the schoolyard. This is before the internet, to have stuff trickled down to a kindergarten schoolyard in 1960. That was everyone was talking about it, even the kindergartners. Yeah. And so it wasn't like, all the stuff they made up, especially since American Horror Story. People have gone crazy since American Horror Story. On what they think about her.
Right.
So there's a Melissa out there who says that she's clairaudient and clairsentient, and please go ahead and type in anything you're gleaning from the surroundings here, because I am sitting right at the edge of the old cottage of Marie Laveau, would be at the position that I'm this way right here in front of me is the porch and the outside courtyard where many rituals were held. So there were meetings and such inside, and voodoo seance and rituals. And so she did seance that dealt with spirits of the dead. She went to the cemeteries every day. The mysteries and the spirits. Lois, she was a devout Catholic. So she prayed, and they said she was a praying woman. Prayed and prayed and prayed all the time to many different spirits. Le Grand Sambi was a Congo word for the great ancestral god, and some say, she had a snake named Zombie, but she was directly across the street from Congo Square. She was born with the polyrhythmic beat of the voodoo drum surrounding her, and she went out that way too. And they were definitely calling the spirits, whether they were calling the Orisha or the Loa. There was some Nego tribe aspects, and she did deal with Ogun. She had Joe Ferrer here, so that was Ogun. You had a lot of things that were different. New Orleans voodoo is not Haitian voodoo. It was not Cuban, Santeria, Yoruba. Orisha style, Ifa. It was New Orleans voodoo that came from Africa, mixing in with our local Native American and some European in there, blending, and a hell of a lot of swamp magic, because that's what we are underneath
Right.
it all. I mean, just the corner across the way, Congo Square, was the beginning of the swamp of an 80% swamp town. I wonder how many are still capable of burning wood. That is a interesting but so seemingly strange comment. She said this person likes a house with fireplaces and wonder how many are still capable of burning wood. Number one, all of them are capable. How dangerous would be is a whole other aspect of it. But you can put a little fire in there and warm it up. So there are at present there are one, two, three fire, three, four. It's like four fireplaces.
Whoa.
All of them are sealed up, but I have went upstairs to become one with them and got some of the brick dust and got some of the stuff from below.
Oh, nice.
All the bricks and
how big is the space?
It's pretty big. I don't know the square footage actually,
Right.
but it's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 long rooms, 2 bathrooms, small courtyard.
Wow.
It's much
amazing.
bigger than most French Quarter apartments. Much bigger. I didn't expect it to be as big as it is. The
Right.
first 3 rooms are pretty much on the old footprint of the
Wow.
original cottage, almost all of them, a little bit more over. And then there was 3 small outbuildings, like service buildings and different. They would have all been called outhouses, even though they weren't for what you
Right.
think. There were many outhouses. So this is one of the older houses built in this area. For this was a latter part of New Orleans, the French Quarter being developed. It was a lower part as well. In so we think seems to be 1798 that the cottage was built.
Damn.
Belonged to her grandmother. Then so her grandmother, her mother, her daughter, her granddaughters, and all such had lived at one point or another in this place. Lived, some were born, some died. So
Wow.
lots of it. And my grandmother and great grandmother and great great grandmother lived across the street from her.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is also kind of butts up to the back of my courtyard at the Haunted Museum on Rampart. But anyway, I was trying to say the difference in what people think and what people are. I believe that she was indeed psychic. I don't know if she held readings like you think of one-on-one, but she absolutely did seance in something that we call parterre, which was on the ground. That we kind of did this connection. She did rituals, and she had her favorite saint was Saint Anthony, and Saint Anthony is Papa Legba or Papa Laba, as well as Saint Peter. So she had Saint Anthony was her favorite, and everybody talked about that here. She also had what I believe to be a bit of a swamp magic altar in the back that they said, it must have been when she was doing her dark work. Whether she did dark work or not is not a public domain, but there was an altar spoken about a lot that didn't have the saints on it. Therefore, if it didn't have the saints and Catholics involved, it's got to be dark, right?
Right.
according to onlookers. But she worked with the midwife. She worked with prison reform. She worked a lot with women's needs and women's rights. And New Orleans can say one thing that no one should really argue about except all the men. And that was that it was the most matriarchal voodoo area out of all of them. Nowhere else was the queen or the priestess at the top of the rung like it was here. And it was seemed to be about 80% female historically. And there are records of people at rituals and things like that. So there are some specific and very interesting records throughout town. And, Marie Laveau is a great spirit who has stayed to be an ascended master over this town. If anyone's going to whisper in the ears and watch something go over, she would, if she has an interest, we hope, in setting the story straight, then she will be here helping. And it seems, according to one of my channeling sessions, that I better be here a lot on Friday nights or Fridays in general. That seems her day. But we're going to have you at the museum. We're going to have you here. We're going to have you at the Oddity Show. You're being for a few days. If you go to BloodyMaryNewOrleans.com, there is a Mystic Dylan button. I
Yes.
will somehow try to put that thumbnail out on both. This is going live right now, I think, on YouTube and Facebook.
Boom.
I'm going to put a little piece of it on TikTok and all of that. But I wanted you to introduce yourself, and if you want to say something about your beliefs, your psychic,
Yeah.
yeah, psychic connections. Do you consider yourself a medium as well?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I work in the necromantic works with death and spirit. I mean, I feel like, when I started, I mean, one, I grew up in Florida, so everyone was doing Santeria.
Right.
Miami is it was just part of it. My grandmother is Cuban, and she had, I mean, my aunt she read with playing cards and read with tobacco smoke and did a bunch of stuff there, and so that was kind of my upbringing. When I moved to LA, because my mother lives in LA, it was primarily like witchcraft, and then as I branched out, there's a branch of witchcraft called traditional witchcraft, which focuses more on the historical, and that really is my main focus. But for me, I mean, I read throwing bones, claromancy, and tarot and playing cards, and that's pretty much my world. And I know I do a little bit of palmistry, but I stay in that circle. And I commune with spirits, and I obviously venerate and believe and have experience with speaking with spirits, but it's not, I for me, I have a thing of like, I prefer not, I don't really see. I like to hear and sense, and kind of straightforward through my tools.
Okay.
So that's kind of my relationship with spirit and spirits.
And lately, you've been dabbling in paranormal investigation too.
Yeah, my friend
Correct.
Paul, who I've known for a long time, he's a really talented paranormal investigator. Um, I have a hard time because I really don't. I guess as a witch, I'm not really into the science of it all, you know.
There's
But
a balance. That's why I do the combination that with all
yeah,
states and you know,
yeah. But so I've been
boys and their toys. The gadget.
exactly.
But
Yeah, they really
I have some here, and it's interesting and fun verification. First,
absolutely
first and foremost, you are your best paranormal, tool.
exactly
You're the best
exactly
tool. And these
exactly
things should be used for a supplement, not to take over the whole show. So
right.
some people just get way too into it, but they feel more confident with a piece of electronics telling you. Me, it's just like the more for batteries to go bad kind of gets me angry sometimes. So I stay with some tried and true pieces to connect. And I like to, as you can see, blend the old school with the new.
Exactly,
Now,
which is wonderful.
some people, which I don't know if she'd like, call Marie Laveau a witch, the first
I
American
I
witch.
don't know.
Eh,
I see. I think that's I don't know. Like I to me
I
I
don't think
think
she would have called herself that.
no, I don't
Of course,
either.
the words meant a lot of different things over the
Of
years.
course.
I don't use the word witch, but I don't
No.
like to use the word witch for
You have
myself
a
because
raccoon penis phone?
yes, I am playing with it.
I was like, I
I
caught
had
that.
it out from my last interview, and now I'm shaking it at you
I
and
know. I'm
saying,
like,
touch that
okay.
raccoon. And it's a big one too. It's an
Yeah,
awfully big
it
one.
is. It's a nice one.
Yes. What was I going to say? We're talking about something else before penis bones got in the way.
The word witch.
But I have no problem with using the word swamp witch
Yeah.
because I am a swamp witch, and there is a
Same.
mystery in voodoo about being a swamp witch, the old swamp witch, and this and that, and I know that would have been the local spirit of place magic because we were
Absolutely.
swamp, and the swamp was like, you know, probably right under my toes. It
Oh,
was very
yeah.
close to the city proper. It was very, all around us. It wasn't
Yeah.
like you got to drive 2 hours away.
My
You got to drive.
grandmother lives on a lake in Miami, and we always got alligators. So ever since I was a kid, like they would come up and sunbathe, And like I always had this like deep. I mean, I every time I go to your shop, I'm buying up your alligator skulls.
Yeah, my bones. But did you know? I was doing something right before you that I'm gonna, with this other voodoo priestess that did a séance with me here, and I was, shaking. I had the raccoon penis bone out for show and tell for her, and the question came up was, what about alligator penis bones? And I said, I've
Oh,
got a whole bunch of bones of all over these old alligators from the alligator farm guy that I used to be. And I said, you know what? I've never seen an alligator penis bone.
no. And you know what I heard?
That exists, right?
It must, because one of the things that I heard at actually on one of the swamp tours, he said, and I don't know if this is right, he said that male alligators are always fully functioning.
I don't know if I have not seen that visually, but like snakes, some of their stuff's kind of inside.
But I believe
I mean, I've seen enough gators constantly all the time to have noticed one like, whoa,
I feel like that's going to be a Google image search tonight. And I don't know if they have a bone or if it's an organ.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was only humans that didn't have a bone.
Right, because I think we have
evolved it away.
There's like, I have a badger penis bone, I have a coyote penis bone, I have possum, and I have raccoon. Yeah, but no gator.
But anyway,
and if they're hard to get, I'm sure they're probably
work that I will have to be looking for lately.
Ask your gator guy.
I will. I'll say, look, come on, I got everything else. How come I don't have that?
Yes.
Hold on. Let's see. The dolls keep moving every time they said both Marie Laveau's name. Well, that's cool. There's some dolls. One haunted. Well, there's only one doll behind me now. The other doll's in the other room. He said the dolls keep moving every time I say the name Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau. It is possible. And I have this up, but there's several other rooms. The altar room's over there. The kitchen and where I make my gris-gris and my powders and my suches over there, and up front is the parlor where I would do more one-on-one communications. So this is my new office, and I am going to be writing several books in here, but mainly that one book that I had already wrote. The book that I wrote years ago was 3 times as long, so it was supposed to become 3 books, and then there was some confusion with the editors swapping and some other such. So I sat on this for a while. I channeled it big time back in the day. That was about 7 years ago. I channeled with Marie Laveau big time in that book. I mean, she was obsessing with me and making me do this and that. And I was like, oh my God, I'll never finish it. And I did, but she was really into it. And then I had to kind of narrow it down to a chapter. But now is the time to shine. And there was a very big reason why I had to wait. And I'm hoping to clarify that with her inside here and reveal it later. So things in the world had to change. And there are some things that have to be revealed and hopefully heal some of the things in the world that we're going through right now. It's just too much. We gotta kind of soften the anger and open up the love and all that goody two crap.
I feel like there's a lot of I mean, honestly, it's even hard to. I feel for me, I think there's a lot of gatekeeping that is happening between practitioners.
Oh well, there should be.
Yeah,
I believe there should be.
Yes,
I believe that not everybody.
Sometimes it goes extreme because sometimes there's people that aren't even involved or don't know, and they're like, "Oh, you can't do this," and it's like,
right. Well, I mean, gatekeeping, as far as I'm concerned, there are certain. I mean, I know what you're saying. You're talking about not being able to be a member of and shutting people out. I'm talking about gatekeeping also being the fact that, one level you get to learn this, and that you have to go
absolutely.
to the next level.
I'm all through initiation, and I think that is definitely important. And I mean,
there's some people that don't like that and think that everybody should have everything right away. I mean, I've got I had to wait 15, 20 years to get from my previous priestesses. So, I am patient,
Yeah, you got to be patient.
But
I think a lot
gatekeeping,
of
as far
people.
as trying to separate out this kind of religion from that kind of religion, or you can't do this one. I mean, I know people of all ethnicities in every religion that exists around because,
Exactly.
God does not, God, goddess, God, um, with a little g, God with the big G.
They don't
They
discriminate.
don't run out of spirituality by going to one group or another. I mean, it's kind of like
Exactly.
music. You can't say, I'm not going to listen to this or do that.
Right.
It doesn't disappear when
No.
different
No.
people listen
I
to
think
it.
people want. I think people want to go to Barnes and Noble and they want to be able to have everything accessible to them.
Well, there's that aspect,
Yeah.
yes.
But
And
then there are
that's probably
people.
not going to be happening because, all these people, that are baby witches or whatever and getting a
Right.
spell out of a book or on the internet. I mean, there's a lot of stuff missing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's
Well,
secret
I also think
ingredients.
I think it's crazy when people start working with, deities and spirits that they know nothing about, only because, in a book it says this love potion requires you to talk to this spirit, and they don't know who that spirit is. They're only doing it because they want that they want Bob. So they're
Well,
like,
yeah, the theory is that, you get the ingredients in the recipe, but not the instructions or the magic.
right,
So it means that you have a lesser, you know, output at the end. I mean, you could go get some flour, some eggs, some chocolate, and milk, and you can just throw it all in
right.
the bowl, shells and all, and say, "Okay, here you go. There's a
Here's a
cake."
brownie.
Yeah. But it's not, because you got to do this first, and you got to whip that, and you got to wait, and you got to cook this, and you got to watch the temperature, you got to baby, you got to put the flour.
Exactly.
There's instructions that come
Right.
with it that
Sure.
my grandma still has her secret that she won't pass down to me, to make that cake her cake.
Right.
Maybe her great grandma taught her, maybe she found it out on her own, but there's a little extra touch. And if it's just the ingredients there, they say the spirit just hovers over it as opposed to being infused throughout it. So it depends on how much you believe, how much you need it, but there's always something more that could be done. And I don't know, is that gatekeeping, or is it just gatekeeping when I say I don't want you in my club?
Well, right. No.
Get out
But
of my
I
tree
mean,
house.
to me, when I say gatekeeping, I think it's more the um people trying to cancel people, the cancel culture
Mm.
within magic and spirituality. The oh, you, I don't know, you used a raccoon penis bone, and raccoons are extinct and or close to being extinct, and now I'm going to cancel you because who knows if that penis bone is ethically sourced. I mean, I feel like in this day and age, everyone has a problem.
Sure. Well, everyone's trying to legitimize themselves or
On social media.
find something that they're right about and you're wrong about. Um,
Yes. Do you find
not.
that on TikTok? I mean, because I,
Oh God,
I haven't.
TikTok's crazy. I don't know if they just stopped screaming at me or not, but lately it hasn't been so bad. And I don't know if maybe they
That's
all
good.
disappeared. I'm sure they didn't all figure it all out, but I got a lot of fakers on TikTok and everywhere actually saying that they're me
Yeah.
soliciting people, and so many people have that problem now.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I think somebody was trying to say that using Florida water was culturally appropriation.
Oh, I heard that. I heard that. I was
It's
like,
like, yeah,
what?
no, I mean, I've literally been bathed in it since I was a baby. It was
Yes.
originally bottled in New York and made by a white
I
man.
was just gonna. It's
It's
like
been,
a Jew in New York bottled this. Like,
I mean, and it's a cologne, but it
yeah,
became it was affordable. It smelled great. It was appeasing to all the spirits since it had so many different smells within it. It's used
right.
to cool, it's used to heat, it's used to call, it's used to banish. It's just it stops mosquito bites from itching. There are so many things that it does. I mean, our football voodoo arena, I'm sorry, our football teams use it. There was a
Right.
football team here named Voodoo, but anyway, football teams here use it. I mean, it is definitely mystical and magical, and I would not leave home without it. But it's not culturally appropriation. I mean, what
No.
about people in it? Florida doesn't mean it's from Florida either. Florida means
Exactly.
flower, And yes, there were some old recipes for it, but it's really cost prohibitive to make it, to use all the original ingredients. And I have some recipes from an old, pharmacist that made it in this area. So yeah, there's things called trade. I mean, I'm not going to even start on the sage bandwagon, but sage has been used all over the world. It's very big in Tibet, and the monks is not just Native American, it's been big in Europe too. So it's difficult to
feel
figure it out. But I grow a lot of things here, and I use a lot of the local herbs because that's what Marie Laveau would have done, right?
Your camphor smells amazing.
You like it? I
love it.
I made some new camphor bundles recently. They're really
nice.
good. But like we were a big, huge port town.
Right.
People brought things here from all over and traded things from. I could say to this, and I would be correct. Rocks are fucking culturally appropriating. Rocks. We have no rocks here. We have no rock, no stone, no pebble. People came here and traded rocks for different things. It's like, so rocks are, I'm stealing a rock.
That amethyst was appropriated.
Oh, well, those things to crystals. Hell yeah. I mean, all these things were not here. They were not everywhere, but people traded for them. And but so rocks.
Well, it's funny, people get so crazy about sage, but the fracking and what's involved to harvest crystals is not beneficial to the earth.
I'm sure it's not. I mean, I have some people say, "Oh no, the more you take, the more they grow." It's like, I don't know. I can't jump on that bandwagon or not,
right?
Because I don't know,
Right.
But again, crystals are way more important where you are than where I am. And we had no rocks,
Right. You had no rocks.
But they're beautiful, and we want diamonds, and I sell them, and this and that. But it wasn't like part of the historic things that were used here because it wasn't.
When you read about voodoo and hoodoo, like I don't think I've ever read a recipe that's like, get your little amethyst and put it in a Marie Laveau's not talking about rose quartz.
I have read about a crystal ball here and there. So there was, it's very possible that she used a crystal ball. I do know that her co-op king, Dr. Jim, used a crystal ball or crystals, but it was not. That was probably more of it. And there were tea leaves that were red. My and great, one of them, grandfather, invested in the very first like mystical tea room here and things.
Oh, nice.
In the 1920, 1915. And I guess card readings at that point were, I guess, still illegal with some of the fortune-telling laws that had been on the books. So you could sell the cup of tea for whatever you want to come with the reading. So, like they always found a way around things. But then again, you could get your love potion at the pharmacy. So, there was love potion, money potion. They always had a little bit of a hoodoo aisle or method to order by number under your breath. So the demand for voodoo and hoodoo and lucky numbers and this and that was very much present here still at that time period. But then they started to cut back on readings and other such things. They were trying to squash a lot of people's livelihoods. They were trying to license things for more people to come in and be legit and always under the veil of protecting.
Right.
And there might have been some protection because there were definitely a lot of people that were there to rip you off. And there still are, damn it. So many people faking to be other people online. I mean, just insane amounts of things going on that are simply bad. People promising you that they'll absolutely 100% guarantee get your lover back within 5 days. It's like, come on, seriously.
Right. Well, I have a question.
When they come back, they're probably not going to stay.
Right. We have all these psychic shops and voodoo shops and witch shops, and obviously they're prominent in New Orleans. Is there do you know when probably the first actually marketed one was? Like, was there a shop in the early 1900s that was like for voodoo or hoodoo, or did that not come till later?
No, there was. Well, I mean, you didn't have shops as much as you came to this house where I'm sitting. And if you wanted love potion, I would make it for you. Maybe I made it pre-bottled it. Maybe I had some things. So it was more individual consumer. And then after that, it was, as I just said, sold in pharmacies in a section in the back, which at first the voodoo practitioners would go into partner and, they would sell their stuff since they couldn't sell medicine without a license. Now you could get in trouble for having somebody come to your house and you give them something saying it was going to heal them. So they went into partnership with the pharmacist. Eventually they got rid of the middleman and start making it themselves. But there was that. And I think I saw a couple of stores listed in maybe the 30s under spiritualist churches and under, it wasn't really a store, but they would have readings and things. And then there was a voodoo store from a voodoo doctor. I think he was in the 1940s, 30s. So little bits, he had Vinyl and Voodoo, which I think is a freaking fantastic name. So albums, and he's sold voodoo stuff.
I love it. That's amazing.
I'm going to reopen that, Vinyl and Voodoo.
Yes, Vinyl and Voodoo.
And I know it's up where this other church is now because I looked it up. I was like, well, I like that. So here and there, more in the 60s, of course, there was that witchcraft shop that everybody talks about. It's American Horror. That Anita Toops had run.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of the earlier ones. And that was around in the 70s, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know about the 60s, but the 70s. She had the first licensed temple for witchcraft. I don't think it was temple. Licensed charter for witchcraft. And she had the witch's closet, which my brother-in-law once removed. Once owned when I was a 14-year-old teenager going there. So I am very aware of that was the one, the big one then. But I heard there was a bunch of other little ones.
Nice. Okay, cool.
So definitely it's been around here for a long time. Different priests or priestesses would have had their own kind of business that you might go to their house, But that's what Marie Laveau had done. She didn't have a store. She didn't have a hair salon. Nobody went to a hair salon. People went to your house to do your hair. It wasn't the idea that people with presentism look now. There wasn't the segregation that people think of that existed in the early 20th century. That was not here before the Civil War, not in the way that people tend to think. It was a totally different outlook. Marie Laveau was in a middle class tier. She was married to a white man. She had mixed children. She was a devout Catholic going to a mixed church. We were a mixed town. After the Americanization, slowly but surely, more and more rights are being pulled away. More restrictions came in until, of course, the Civil War. And then after that, things were just pulled away to gentrify us.
Right.
They used things like that after that as an excuse to destroy other things that they didn't like. Like here, they got rid of the language of French at the same time. And here, so they just did a lot of things that was not expected. So now after COVID, they're gentrifying some other things. But then they took away, right after the Civil War, they took away the rights at Congo Square, public assembly, turned it into a park, cleaned it up. Then people kind of went back to doing little things and meetings in their houses and dancing deeper in the swamp. But things were changing every which way. And of course, a lot of people fled the area too,
Right.
But before that, there was a heyday from the 1830s to the mid 60s that when Marie Laveau reigned queen, that was the golden time here in town, financially and everything else, I guess, except, of course, slavery.
Right.
Even though we might have had more freedoms here and more ways to get freedoms for people, slavery, however you slice it, is always oppression. But people at that time looked at things the way they looked at them, and there's multiple ways of how people justified it, I guess. They really did think that France was going to come back and somehow slavery would go away when that happened. I mean, there were some people that never gave up the idea that France would come back and be here instead of America, but that just did not seem to happen,
No, they signed that Louisiana Purchase and they just went.
I don't know how it was going to come back. Wasn't quite sure, but there's people that said, okay, that was slavery was leaving anyway, and I don't know,
That's
We
crazy.
shall see. Again, everybody looks at things to try to justify what was going on, and it was a rough time. But the 1830s, Marie Laveau's heyday was the golden time in town, which is why she did as much as she did, why she was known as much as she was known, and why voodoo got integrated into every part of the culture of New Orleans. It's in our food, it's in our music, and it's everywhere you turn.
Boom.
And on that note, you will be here very soon. People should book Dylan. We'll probably have some walk-ins as well, but we want to get it so that you get your thing. I'm at 828. Am I at 828 North Rampart in New Orleans, in the French Quarter, right across from Congo Square, a block from the old house of Marie Laveau, where we will be giving different psychic connections and shows from inside the box. And this is our Afterlives Spirit Talks with Mystic Dylan from Santa Clarita, California, and moving soon to Santa Clarita, just a different location.
Yes, block away.
A block away.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it easy. I thought it'd be much further. So block away. Good luck with getting your new spot. You'll email Del Marie, help Mystic Dylan get his way. And I'm going to say goodnight to you and to all the people out there. And we'll see you soon. Safe trip.
See you soon.
Don't bring me COVID this time. I'll kick your ass.
I won't. It wasn't me. I didn't get it.
You said it was you?
Oh, no, it was the girls, the women I was with.
They had the COVID and gave it to you?
They had the COVID.
Damn it.
COVID. Damn it. I won't.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, bye. Oh, how do I
Come on in, broadcast.